All right, let's dive into the digital heartbeat of Sri Lanka for 2025. We're going to unpack some fascinating new research from Data Reportal. We're talking about a country with more mobile phones than people, but where nearly half the population is still offline. And trust me, you'll want to see which social media app is growing at an absolutely explosive rate. Let's get right into it. So I want to kick things off with just one number, 127%. Just let that sink in for a second. What on earth could that possibly be? Go on, take a guess. You got it. It's the ratio of mobile connections to people. Yep, you heard that right. There are way more active mobile connections in Sri Lanka than there are actual human beings. How's that possible? Well, you've got people with multiple phones for work and personal life, plus things like eSIMs and data-only devices. It's just a huge sign that Sri Lanka is, through and through, a mobile-first nation.
But, to really make sense of any of these digital numbers, we've got to understand the people behind them first. So let's start with a quick look at the demographics. Our starting point, the big number that everything else is based on, is the total population. At the start of 2025, we're looking at 23.2 million people in Sri Lanka. Keep that number in your head because it gives all the other stats their meaning. Now this right here, this is a really critical piece of the puzzle. Over 80% of Sri Lankans live in rural areas. That context is so important because it shapes literally everything, from the challenges of rolling out internet infrastructure to how people actually adopt and use digital tech. And get this, the median age is just 33.3. That points to a pretty young, really dynamic population. And as we know, younger populations tend to be way quicker to jump on new technologies and trends. So you've got this young, mostly rural population. That's the setup.
Okay, so we know who the people are. The next big question is, how are they connecting? How are they getting into the digital world? This is where the story starts to get really, really interesting. This slide really says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you have 12.4 million people who are using the internet. That's just over half the country. But look at the other side. That's 10.7 million people, nearly half the population, who are completely offline. This highlights a massive digital divide that still exists in Sri Lanka today. But here's the thing. That gap, it's closing, and it is closing fast. Just between 2024 and 2025, more than 800,000 new users came online. That's a 7% jump in just 1 year. It shows there's some serious momentum behind getting the whole nation connected.
Okay, so people are getting online. The next logical question is, where are they all going? What are they doing? Well, that brings us to the main event, the buzzing, fast-changing world of social media.
So as of early 2025, there are 8.2 million social media users in Sri Lanka. To put that in perspective, that's about 35% of every single person in the country. It also tells us that roughly 2/3 of all Sri Lankans who are online are also active on social media.
And this is where things get wild. Just look at this growth chart. I mean, sure, you've got a giant like Facebook still growing at a healthy 9%, but the real story here is TikTok. It's surged by over 30% in a single year. That is just incredible growth. And don't sleep on LinkedIn. Its growth is also super strong, which probably points to a booming professional scene online.
All right, let's break this down a bit more. We're going to go platform by platform to get a clearer picture, starting with the one that still holds the top spot, for now. So Facebook's potential ad reach hits 8.2 million people. And yep, you'll probably notice that's the exact same number as the total social media users we just talked about. That's because these overall numbers are often calculated based on the biggest platform's reach. And when you look at who's on there, at least among the adult audience, you can see it skews pretty clearly male, with almost 60% of the user base.
Next up, we have YouTube, and it is right on Facebook's heels with an ad reach of 8.13 million. It is an absolute powerhouse in Sri Lanka, no question about it.
Now, what I find really interesting here is the gender distribution on YouTube. It is way more balanced than what we just saw on Facebook. I mean, it's practically a 50-50 split between male and female viewers.
And now for the rocket ship in the room, TikTok. Its ad tools report a reach of 5.79 million users, and that's just for people aged 18 and over. Don't forget, this number doesn't even count its huge under 18 audience, so its actual influence is even bigger.
And wow, look at this gender split. If you thought Facebook's audience was skewed male, TikTok takes it to a whole other level.
2/3 of its adult advertising audience in Sri Lanka are men. That's a very specific demographic that's flocking to the platform.
Okay, let's pull back for a second. We've gone through a ton of data, a ton of numbers. So what's the big picture here? What does all of this tell us about the future of digital in Sri Lanka?
It really boils down to three key things. First, Sri Lanka is absolutely a mobile-first nation with connectivity everywhere. Second, there's this huge opportunity still, with nearly half the country waiting to come online. And third, the social media world is being totally shaken up by the incredible explosive growth of TikTok. And all of this leads us to the final massive question. As those 10 million offline Sri Lankans start to get connected, their choices are going to shape everything. Are they going to flock to the established giants like Facebook and YouTube, or will they jump on the massive wave of a disruptor like TikTok? The answer to that is going to write the next chapter for digital life in Sri Lanka.